What is up, guys? This is episode 2 of our infamous podcast, The Dream Team. We got Nelson in the cut, we got Leon, we also have Matthias and me, and today we'll be discussing.
Yeah, today we'll be talking about social media and smartphone, and specifically, we're going to be talking about addiction that comes from that. So first of all, I'd like to ask you guys which social media you guys use.
I mean, all of them. I guess the question is, which one do we use the most?
Basically, yeah, just tell me which ones you use.
What
I
social
don't
media
know,
do you use the most?
Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. That's the ones I use most.
Twitter, I want to use Twitter, but
Oh,
I don't.
Twitter's
I'm
fun,
not
yeah.
like. I'm not social media savvy. I'm not anything savvy.
Yeah, which ones do you use primarily? YouTube also counts, by the way.
Oh yeah,
Only
YouTube's in
YouTube.
too.
Only YouTube?
Only YouTube. Yeah.
What about you, Matthias? Like, which ones do you use the most?
Discord, probably.
Discord. Okay, we have a gamer
Yeah.
over here.
Oh,
Right. Would you describe yourself as like using too much time
Yeah.
on social media? Like, would you say that you yourself spend too much time on social media and stuff?
Yeah.
What about you, Nelson?
I mean, I guess it depends because, like, I would say my hour per week or per day spent on YouTube is really high. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like I don't know what else I would be doing with the time. So
Exactly.
I
In
guess
perspective,
it's
let's
like
not kid
I'm
ourselves. We're in
wasting.
lockdown. What else are we gonna do?
Yeah,
No, it's not
exactly.
even that. It's like even before like lockdown, back in the day, regular times, it was always high.
Back in the
Um,
day, like it was 7 years ago.
Hold up, wait. Does teams and stuff like that count as well?
No,
No,
No.
that's school. That's something school
It's
oriented.
media, though. Social media.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
we're not
but it's
using it for
school.
It's not.
recreational
It's not
purposes.
voluntarily, you know.
Yeah, they're keeping us hostage.
Yeah, they're forcing us to do it. No, but basically, you know how social media addiction, not just social media addiction, but phone addiction in general, has become like a major problem throughout the last couple of years, right? And especially teenagers, which all of us are, right? Yeah, we're all teenagers.
We're all teenagers.
What is funny about that? Why are you laughing?
Why did you ask? No, because you said it right. Like, what do you mean, right? Come on.
Yeah,
We're
we're all
11 years old.
teenagers, so we're especially affected by this, right? So, yeah, would you describe yourself as addicted to your phone or to social media?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
Yeah,
Think of it this way: if you had no Wi-Fi, what would your life be like?
I mean,
exactly. That's
that
what I'm
depends.
saying.
That depends. Do I know that Wi-Fi exists? Is it a thing and I don't have it, or
In your
do
house
I?
right now. In your house right now, you have no
Oh,
Wi-Fi. 'Cause I've been the past few days. I've
I'll
had
just
no
be reading
Wi-Fi.
books. I have hella books at home. I'm used to like reading when I don't have my phone or some shit.
Yeah, but I
Okay,
think it's important to like distinguish between what's necessary and like time that's wasted, if you know what I mean? Because we all
Actually,
like
question.
yeah, go ahead.
What? This is a very like big thing that I'm trying to understand. What constitutes as time wasted?
Exactly.
Um
Like if you're enjoying yourself, is it wasted? You're not doing something
Yeah.
productive, but you're having a good time.
oh yeah, true.
Or like,
Yeah, exactly.
let's say
That's
like,
how it's defined, by not doing anything productive. That's how you would define it.
yeah, but like people often say like playing video games is not productive. But the way I see it is like, I mean, you're not learning anything that you're necessarily gonna like use in life, like in school, but you are like, I don't know, I don't know how to put this. You're not just brain dead. You're doing something with your head while you're playing video games. So it's not exactly wasting time. You're not learning something you can use out there, but
Yeah,
like
but if you want to
you're
get like
also,
real technical with it like that, then you can say that anything you do stimulates your brain. Like
yeah, so
because that's
technically
just
you're,
stimulation, but anything you do at all stimulates your brain.
If I can say something, I see it completely differently. If you're having a good time, if you're enjoying yourself, it's not time wasted. Because ultimately, I guess that's what matters. The fact that you're feeling all right, even if you're not learning much. At least you're doing something that's for you worthwhile, for you to enjoy it. So I guess that's not wasted.
Yeah, but
I think like most people, sorry.
Because ultimately, look, let's say it in the grand scheme, if all your life you're doing something productive, like businesses and all that stuff, school, work, all that stuff, and then, you're not a happy person, at the end of your life, are you going to think there was a life wasted or a life well spent?
I think this
'Cause
really
you did a lot, you
depends.
accomplished a lot, but you weren't happy.
This really depends on the person you ask, but like like what's socially accepted anyways is like if there's a balance, I guess, between your own enjoyment and being productive, you know. And for me personally, I think I also feel like I spend way too much time on social media, even though I'm enjoying myself, right? So still feel like there's time being wasted, even though, you know, I'm having fun while wasting the time, if you know what I mean.
Okay, let me ask you something though. After you're done using social media, how do you feel? Do you feel like you regret it, or do you not care? Or because, for example, if we take addiction in another sense, like with substances, after you use it, next day or whatever, after a period of time, you feel bad physically. What about social media? How do you feel after you've used it a lot?
I mean,
Depends if you're talking short term or long term. If you're talking short term, you're gonna feel fine.
Addiction.
But
I'm
if you're
talking about
talking long
addiction.
term, you're gonna be like, I should have spent more time doing this or that. Or if you actually end up needing skills that you could have spent your time practicing on, you could have been like, oh, I should have use like at least half the time or a quarter of the time that I spent on social media like developing these skills. So I don't think short term is going to be much of a problem. You're not going to think about it as much. But let's say afterwards, like when you have, let's say, final exams or something, you would be like, oh, I could have used this time more wisely. I could have used it for, studying for tests or practicing from here to there.
yeah, it really depends on the situation
Okay.
and whether there are deadlines and stuff like that coming up. All right. Also next, I wanted to talk about, you know how the algorithm of many social media apps is designed to keep you on the app as long as possible. So, like to what degree would you think that, you know, being addicted to social media is like your fault, and to what degree is it the developer's fault?
It's a hard question because I don't know in general addiction when you talk about in any sense substance or technology or anything, how much can you really blame yourself? Because it's something your body picks up. It's not that you have a decision, so to say. I guess in the very beginning you can say no, I'm not going to use social media. But as kids, we were born and raised with technology. It was kind of infused into our lifestyle. So I don't think we can really blame ourselves to be using it so much and hence addicted.
It wasn't really infused into our lifestyle. I would disagree with that
I
because you
think
still
in our
had the
generation, I think in
option
our
to
generation it was.
avoid it. If it was infused into our lives, like forcefully, as you kind of described it, then why would modern Amish people really exist? Because I mean, Amish people live on the basis of not really using technology and especially Wi-Fi and stuff like that. So if it was really that extremely and heavily like infused into our lives, would you really think that people still live without it?
Okay, but I'm not saying everyone was in the world. If there's fearsome native groups around the world, cultural groups that don't even know what technology is.
No, but exactly, they don't
And
know what it is, but Amish people know exactly what it is and choose to stay away from it. So would you say that it's
are
our
we?
fault that we keep using it, or would you say that it's not your fault, that it's the manufacturer's fault, that it's the environment? Because they live in the same environment as we do, but they just don't choose to enjoy the same privileges, if you might call it, that we do, because of, I don't know, they believe that it's gonna ruin their life or they're gonna get addicted to it or whatever. I don't know.
Oh yeah, but I think like what Matthias was saying about injected, I don't think he meant exactly injected. I think he just meant like modern life is just heavily dependent on it. Whether you're doing work or whether you're having fun, it's like everything we do has to do with some sort of technology. I mean, you could be born in a life like an Amish person where like you just don't use it. Of course, that's still possible, but like for majority of people, at least in the Western world, like it's just how can you survive without technology? It's like
Exactly.
impossible.
Yeah, exactly. So that makes
And
like being addicted or becoming addicted to social media a lot more easy, you know, because you already have
Yeah,
the basis, you know, if you know what I mean.
yeah, but
mm,
like I don't like the original question I think you said was like the developer's fault. I don't think it's the developer's fault why we're so like addicted. I wouldn't exactly call it addicted, but I would say it's more like I don't know the market and like school and government and stuff like this. Like they kind of as like time passes, we're just like moving on to technology more and more, and so it's more like the rules and the environment we grow up in that makes us addicted, not really the technology. So
yeah, but also it doesn't mean that the developers have no part in it. Of course, they have those small subconscious tweaks they do in their apps that make you want to continue and browse more and come back to it. Of course, partly they always force you to come back. But like what Nelson said, the fact that we're more dependent on technology nowadays is not the fault of a developer. It's just for what the Western world sees as progress. You know.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, like you can even like take the developer, for example, like social media companies are asked specifically do it like as a business. So in business, like most people, they see it as sort of like a jungle where one has to survive. So in order to survive, you might have to take out other ones, and the way you take out other ones is by becoming more famous or richer than them. So I think these ways that like social media apps make us more addicted to their stuff is like it's just a way for them to become bigger and like earn more money.
Mm.
And that greed or that search for money or whatever, it just comes from like the way we grew up. Like you always have to get big, and
Yeah,
it's like
you know,
I don't know,
it's
every
Definitely because of the prediction models that they make. That's the thing Matthias was talking about. The little tweaks they put in their systems. I think they're called like prediction models or something. They're basically just AI that makes you more addicted to the app to kind of decide when to send you which notification to bring you back on your phone, stuff like that. There's a documentary on it on Netflix if you want to go watch that. It's called The Great Dilemma or something. And
oh, I saw that one, the
yeah,
social dilemma,
there's
right?
yeah, Social Dilemma. My bad. And speaking from experience, because my mom works in the banking system and she knows about these models. She said that of course they're made to be addictive, and of course they're made to grow because there's billions of dollars in these models and the production of these models alone, let alone the factories that they support and the businesses they support. So of course it's about money and getting bigger, because what else would it be about? It's for sure not about like personal improvement, because that really doesn't matter for them.
Yeah, like Nelson said, they depend on us. These companies depend on us for their success and their income and all that, and therefore they need the more they get people to use their apps, and the more they get to join, the more the
Th-
success they
They
have.
don't
So
necessarily depend on us. They depend on people who don't really think for themselves. They depend for people who are kind of stupider. I know that's rude to say, and we kind of fall into that
probably
category,
right.
but they kind of depend on people who are more willing to kind of, as Leon said, waste their time, because that's what it is. The more you're spending online, the less you're likely the less you're likely to become a competition of theirs or any other business that they work for. So it's kind of to keep you indulged with this kind of falsified
But
world that you could keep scrolling in forever and ever and have fun or whatever. So yeah.
it's like you're saying, it's an emotional game as well. I wouldn't say stupider, or I think more maybe independent. Let's say it also really depends what's your mental state. You know how where you get your how do you call it, acceptance, or I forgot the word for it.
Yeah, but still that
I
doesn't
guess
that doesn't
acceptance.
matter. Regardless of that, they depend on people being like that. Doesn't
Yeah.
really matter
I
what you
mean,
call it. They just
Also,
depend on people
I
being
wouldn't
like
call
that.
it, I wouldn't call it stupid, because you know it can happen to pretty much every single one of us, because it like, I guess it what the developers of these apps, of these services, what they try to like hit, I guess, you know, what they try to uh what kind of emotion they try to invoke in us is present in pretty much every single person, you know. It's like a, I don't know how to describe this. It's like a,
What I
hey,
wanted to
I
say
was
is
gonna say
approval
that.
instead of acceptance. That you look for the approval, and they try and pick on that and to make you get that in their media, and that's why you always come back.
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, and it's like people aren't, it's not that they're necessarily stupid, it's just that people have always been like this. And that's why like a lot of companies in general, but especially social media ones, they actually hire a lot of psychologists because like there are these things that like these emotional factors that they try to target that helps their business grow better. So it's not like people are stupid or anything, it's just that they're taking advantage of just human nature.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah,
something that I meant to
yeah,
say.
precisely. Well
Yeah.
said.
And yeah, it's just part of human nature, right? Like
Yeah, but I
the
feel
whole
like
reward system.
you can't really blame the developer for kind of I guess like gaming the system, because the system is made for them to gain money, and if you fall into it and you fall for the tricks, you're still gaining something from it. And whether it's like important to them doesn't matter, because they still give you something, right? And if you don't
Mhm.
give something in return, that you're giving them your time, which is because these apps are usually free, their currency. Because the longer you spend on these apps, the longer you rate things on the apps, the more they get to find out about you, and the more money they make because of time taken and spent on their apps.
Hmm.
Because as I said, these like TikTok is free, for example, and a lot of people are addicted to TikTok recently, and they've only recently started putting in ads. Beforehand, like 2 years ago when it just started, they didn't have any ads. It was just based on viewership. But now they don't only have like producers like marketing for new products and stuff, but they also have actual companies. I didn't mean producers, creators, like content creators. They don't only have them now, but they also have actual companies advertising their products in the middle of the videos or whatever.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely like the developers. I mean, they also have like part of the guilt, I guess, because it's of course, they have the ability to to wait,
Nice.
wait.
I guess, are
Okay.
you trying to talk about the morals of it, if they're doing something wrong or not? Because
Basically,
like
yeah,
Imran said,
they should be aware of
you
the
can't blame
ethics
them,
and stuff.
and I don't think it's more blame. The moral aspect is up for debate. It's your opinion. Are they harming you more than they're benefiting you or not? I just think to an extent, of course, they're responsible because this is their product, this is how it works, and they're trying to grasp you. But I don't know if you can't really blame them for a
Of course, they're harming you
choice.
and benefiting you because if unless you're in the top 10% that actually benefits and is like a big content creator on these apps, you don't benefit from it at all.
Hmm.
If anything, you
So I
waste
mean,
time and money because the
entertainment,
products,
feel
placements,
good,
and whatever.
Yeah, the only
and
benefit you
feel
really
good.
get
So
is
I think it's
your
a
enjoyment.
good.
Nelson
Yeah,
just
but
left.
your enjoyment doesn't turn into currency. That's what I'm saying. And this world is a capitalist system. So you having fun doesn't actually mean anything. You can be happy that you had fun, but then afterwards you're gonna have a tough time because you spend all your time having fun and not actually doing anything to gain profit. Unless you're really lucky or you're in a really really good position where you could just do something and it can work out for you easily and you could get money for doing it.
Yeah, definitely. But I
Unless
don't.
unless you're in that top like 1% of people, I don't think it's gonna be easy for you if you spend all your time having fun.
Yeah, but I don't think. I mean, of course, it's important to like find a balance between having fun and earning money, right? But not everything is about money, if you know what I mean.
I beg.
I feel like that's true from like a human perspective, but if you want to talk about systems, the capitalist system wants you to have money for it to work. So you need to have money to be relevant in the Western world. Otherwise, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I want to touch base on that. If we're going to talk about grand schemes in two ways. The world as it is, of course, as Leon said, money is not everything. It's basically nothing. But the world that we humans made it became heavily, and I guess all reliant on money. You're not gonna get what we call success or at all, a self-sustainable life without money. You just need it that way.
Yeah, that's just a capitalist society. But what I mean is, still, even in a really capitalist society, money still isn't everything. I know
You can have
we're heavily reliant on it, yeah, but still, there's other things to life, you know?
you can have success without money. I don't think that's true.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Dude,
No,
Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they both died penniless, but they made so much progress and they did so much for the community, but they both died like not getting any richer from where they started, even though they were popular and successful and still talked about today.
that's a
It's
good
the
point.
Yeah,
same with like Picasso and stuff like that. Like he was not that famous before he died. He
Wait,
gained
really?
his fame afterwards.
It only died like
Same with
recently, though.
Picasso.
Like 30 years ago. Picasso, yeah.
Yeah, I
who the
know,
hell is
but
Picasso?
it
You don't
doesn't
know
matter though.
Okay, never mind.
It doesn't matter though, because he got all of his
An
Who
paintings
is
artist.
now are way
Picasso?
more like priced than they were before. The same with
But that's
Beethoven's and Mozart's music. That's because of the spread of
but
the
that's
media.
artists.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. But they weren't successful, and I mean they were kind of successful in their time, but they
Yeah,
weren't rich.
but that's how artists are. Usually, when they die, their work
Exactly.
gets
No, no, no.
because they
Yeah, I'm
won't
not
do any more
arguing
of
that
their work.
point. I'm just saying that you can be successful without having money.
yeah, I think we all
About
agree
that
on that.
though, yeah, I do agree. But I think the thing we need to talk about is not that whether you can have a fulfilling life without money, or yeah, fulfilling life without money. It's that like we were told from a very young age that in most people that you just have to go for that money just means you're better automatically. But like I mean, obviously there's other things that come into play, like having a diploma and being educated as well. But for the most bit, at least in the Western culture, I would say, or the whole world really, money is the thing. Everybody's like, go after that; it will make you better or stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's
So
what
it's
I'm
not.
saying. I agree that with money, it's not necessarily success, but the goal that we are all born with and taught, the goal
Yeah,
is to get money. There's
money.
stereotypes, there's all these, stories and everything, but essentially that's the capitalist world we live in. We get the school diploma for what? So we can get the university diploma. So we can get for what? So we can get a job, so we can support ourselves and our families with the money. That is the goal.
And
Yes, you can live
it's
successfully, but it takes a lot of self-confidence, I would say, to just stray out of this path that everyone has planned for you and to make your own success without money. It takes a lot of independence and willpower, I guess. It's not easy
Yeah,
to stray
also,
out of this, system.
most people who say that money doesn't matter that much are themselves rich. So I guess, money isn't everything in life, but it definitely makes life easier.
Yeah, I would definitely say that money is power for the most part, and so is knowledge. And if you don't have knowledge, the next best thing is money, of course, because with knowledge you can gain money, and with money you could gain more money. But never mind. My point is that, of course, people who were brought up with a little bit more money have the luxury to say that money is not everything. But if we're actually talking about surviving, of course it's not everything emotionally, but if we're actually talking about surviving in a capitalist like Western society, you would have to have money, or a certain amount of money, or a steady income of money. You would have to have a car, you would have to have a house, and people depend on you to have these things. And if you're not born into money, then it's harder for you to achieve. And the best and easiest way for you to achieve this is to get a classical education.
I just wanted to say that we might be straying a bit away from the main
Oh yeah,
topic.
true. Didn't even realize, and I'm the
Oh
host.
man.
All right, so moving on from the whole money debate, right? My last point that I have is, what's your opinion on the quote, "Social media has made us less social"?
I don't think it's true.
Why not?
It depends on your idea of
I
social,
mean,
because I think with the arrival of social media, the idea of being social has also changed. Because is messaging your friends social? Is that being social, or are you talking about traditionally actually going out and meeting friends?
But look, there's also a scientific aspect to that. I watched the video, Kurzgesagt, it's a science group, and they said that being popular on social media, you can still feel lonely. And there's not really a correlation between how popular you are on the digital side to how you feel and how fulfilled you are in the personal side. So yes, the opinion and the idea of social and socializing does change with media, but still doesn't have a correlation as how we humans know and existed with in the previous times. Because
But I feel like that doesn't correlate. I feel like that's more the problem of the people who feel lonely. I feel like there's something inside that just having friends and people supporting them will not help. I think maybe if they're depressed, I don't think having friends in real life or having friends online really matters a whole deal to you. You're still going to be depressed, and
but
you're still going to feel like kind of empty, I guess. I don't know how depression works, but
let me ask you guys something personally. Do you think having a lot of friends digitally that you've never met, you don't know, but they're there and they talk to you, does it fulfill your need to socialize? Do you feel like you have friends as if you had in real life? Do you feel social and fulfilled? Or
sure,
do you
yeah.
need that human interaction?
Not really. I feel like I have
So
some online friends that I play games with, occasionally, and also friends who I've known in real life who have become online friends because I've moved. And I feel like it really doesn't make a difference because
yeah, so
most of
Cameron
most
fulfilled
of
with digital.
socializing for me is just conversation.
Okay, Leo Nelson.
Leon.
All right, for me, it gets pretty close. I mean, with the development of modern technology, like we can FaceTime, we can talk on the phone and stuff. It gets really, really close, but it's still not there, if you know what I mean. Because talking in person is always going to be nicer than talking in via like Discord, for example, like we're doing
Says
right
you,
now.
Leon?
Let me finish, bro.
Says you?
Says I, yes, says I. So
Oh,
yeah, so it's getting close, but it's not quite there.
Nelson?
I've never, like I said before, I've never been tech savvy or internet savvy, so I've never had internet friends. Like, I wouldn't even know what it feels like to be fulfilling to have internet friends. It's always like real life stuff.
Okay. Personally, I don't think that technology can substitute, at least not yet. Maybe someday when we have, complete virtual, replicas of
Oh yeah,
friends
that
and
would, that
everything,
would be
maybe
sick.
someday.
Yeah.
But for the time being, I think it cannot replicate and fulfill the same way as a human interaction does.
But like assuming that if we define that that social is just interacting with others, right? Of course, I think that um, the invention of social media has made us more social as opposed to less social. But if we actually think about human interaction in person, I think that it has actually made us less social because we have less reason to meet up with friends, as we can just meet over different apps like Discord, for example.
I
And
feel
I
like
guess we can agree.
it's
I
made
can
us
agree. Just made
less.
a new definition
yeah,
of
it's made us
social.
less
made us-
social in that
yeah.
aspect.
It's made us less social traditionally, but I feel like most of the things that I remember when I hang out with friends is the conversations we had rather than the things we did physically. Because I don't feel like when you have friends, I don't think you like cuddle with them or anything that you're gonna want to like physically remember, or physically want to do. I feel like it's mostly just conversations that you remember, and I feel like that's why conversing is just enough for me
Mm,
personally.
yeah. But I feel like with conversation,
I mean,
especially over the phone, the body language, goes last. You know what I mean?
Turn on your
yeah.
camera, bro.
For,
It's 2020.
for me,
Goddamn.
like, for me personally, like body language is very important because, like, yeah, you can just talk on the phone, but I feel like I don't know, there's something that is missing. Like when you're really there with the person, there's when you call somebody later, there's definitely a difference. As you can easily
Yeah,
pick it
Nelson
up.
gets a lot of ladies, so it's hard for him to do it online.
Shut up.
He's
Right.
used to
It's
like being in.
just I don't know. There's just so
Also,
many other things that come into play when you're right there with the person, rather than just your voice. When you're talking to the person, you can't see them or like you're not next to them.
Yeah, definitely. I agree too.
That's it for today's episode of the Dream Team, the second episode where we talked about social media, a bit of money, and a bit of socializing. Nelson, Leon, Matthias, and I wish you a nice day, and stay tuned for the third episode. Have a nice day, stay healthy, and yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you next
Peace
time
out.
then. Bye, guys. See you.
Remember.
Don't do it again.
Stop.
That's it. That's it
Oh
for
my
today's episode.
God.